Kevin, welcome to the podcast. Absolute pleasure to have you. And we sit 48 hours as we record this from the opening game in Newcastle, and you're going. How excited are you about what lies in store at St James's Park?
Yeah, really looking forward to it. I can't remember, it'll be a couple of years since I saw England play. I think we've got a real chance. I think to go to a wonderful stadium like that with a load of England fans will be pretty spectacular and pretty special. So I'm really looking forward to it. I know it's been a long time coming, but I think we're all ready, aren't we? I just hope England do really well. I really hope England do well, because I think the players will be desperate to do everything they can in that white shirt, and yeah, it's about time, isn't it?
Yeah, we've been talking about it for ages. Yeah. And obviously there was the delay, but you get the sense from speaking to not just England players, but all the people associated with the sport and all the teams that have now landed in the country, that they're just raring to go. And it's going to be a real festival, isn't it? Yeah,
it is. Yeah, I think the British public have really got behind it, and will continue to do as the tournament progresses. The best of the best are here. Like when you look around the squads, and there's so many top quality players. There's some unknowns in there, but there are some wonderful players here, the best in the world. So yeah, it'll be an unreal 6 weeks.
It's interesting that there's such a wide spread of terrific players across so many different nations, which wasn't necessarily the case in the past. Maybe when you started your international career, that makes it a much more open tournament, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, and it's great to see people talking about Tonga and Samoa. I think PNG are going to be a threat. Like, they're a really, really good nation. So you throw England in there. You know, the big three, England, Australia, New Zealand, have always been strong, but now there's probably 6, maybe 7 countries who could really, if they get their act together and put some form together, can really cause an upset, and hopefully we get a different name on that trophy. Hopefully it's England's name on that trophy.
Well, I mean, do you think that the guys can go all the way? And do you think this is the year that they could just take that extra step?
I think it's tough. I think you know, when you look at the Southern Hemisphere squads, you look at their competition, you look at the guys who've been able to play State of Origin and have been exposed to that really top-end test match level pacing games. You know, you could argue Australia have the edge because they have that. The mid-season internationals help teams. But I think it'll be really interesting. Look, we're on home soil, aren't we? So we've got to be optimistic. We've got to look forward. I think when you look at the squad, you know, some guys that I played with, which I'm great to see still kicking around and playing great as well. So I think we've got a really good mix of youth and experience. Sean will have them firing, won't he? There's no doubt about that. And I hope the country gets behind, and I'm sure the boys will do us proud.
How big a factor do you think the home crowd is going to be? I mean, you've played in a World Cup here on home soil. How much did it help you, and how much do you think it's going to be a game changer for England?
Yeah, it's massive, and for whatever reason, you know, I played in 2 home World Cups, 2000 and 2013. Start of both those tournaments, there's still a lot of club rivalries. There's still that tribal nature of Super League. You never
in
get
the squad. Or
outside the squad, and like you'll always face some of that at the start of the tournament. Yeah. But the thing that I was most proud of, certainly in the 2013 World Cup, was at the back end there was more England shirts than I'd ever seen before, and I just thought we can get those white shirts in there earlier, so that the lads genuinely feel that support. Like when people get behind you, there's a wave and momentum, and we get off to a good start. I have no doubt we get to that second game and we suddenly fill the stadium with white shirts, which is what the lads need to see.
When you think that you made your World Cup debut in 2000, that sounds a long time ago, doesn't
it? It is a long time ago. It is a long time ago.
22 years ago. What do you remember about that tournament? You scored a hat-trick, of course, and you know, it was your first big global tournament as an international player. Did you have happy memories of that tournament?
Yeah, I loved it, really. It was my first experience of men's international rugby, so the calibre of players who was around, you know, like lads had grown up really looked up to. You know, your Sculthorpes, your Farrells, your Longs, your Rolinskis, like Chris Joynt. Like the team was full of superstars, and then you're this 19, 20-year-old who's, you know, probably right on the fringe of the squad getting picked. But just a wonderful experience. You know, got to play against Australia at Twickenham, and yeah, it was good memories.
And 2008 was completely different again, of course, down under. And by that point, you were heavily established in the squad. And was there an expectation going into that tournament that England could challenge? And how did you all reflect on the semi-final defeat to New Zealand?
I think it was tough. It was probably a bit of a turning point for certainly my generation. A bit of a turning point for English rugby league.
Yeah.
2008 we weren't good enough, and that was probably because of what had gone on in Super League. The 2 years around that point, sort of Leeds Saints had got to grand finals, and there wasn't any animosity between the lads at all, but we didn't mix well enough, and we didn't get on well enough. We didn't spend enough time together, and that hurt us on the field. And
how does that operate when you're on tour for such a long time? I mean, it's not organic necessarily to be able to mix.
It takes time. Yeah, it takes time, and you, for our sport, you have to trust the guy next to you, and you have to have that honesty about. You only get that through spending time with each other, and we probably didn't spend enough time. We learned the lessons from that afterwards, and I think that Steve McNamara went on and did a wonderful job with England in terms of addressing that collective nature about who we were and how we looked after each other, and actually turned it into a very much felt like a club side. And although you spent 9 months of the year battering each other, when you came to put that shirt on, you knew that, you know, it was really important that we couldn't let what happened in 2008 happen again. And there's lads in this current squad now who remember sort of that change.
Yeah.
You know, people like Sam Tompkins, Callum Watkins, Ryan Hall would have been there or thereabouts. So some of those older guys will remember as it started to shift, and it was really important for English rugby. And
that paid off in 2013 with that campaign you had, and you were seconds away.
Yeah,
from that pinnacle.
It was heartbreaking, like to finish at the end like we did. You know, with 20 seconds to go, I was like, for all of us.
I wasn't going to ask you how many times you've watched it back, because you probably haven't.
No. I've obviously seen the last 20 seconds a few times. But you, I think you learn to live with stuff like that. It's tough, and it certainly left a mark on all of us. We actually played outstanding that day, apart from the last 20 seconds. Like, as a team, we really came together, and we had a lot of momentum behind us. Like, to see the white shirts in that stadium was incredible, and it weren't meant to be. For whatever reason, it weren't meant to be, but you hope that some of those difficult moments and the adversity that we've had to go through as a nation and as a sport, that we're strong enough this time to come through it, and we'll be good enough this time.
Yeah, England took that extra step to the final in 2017, didn't quite pull it off. If England were to win the World Cup, what do you think it would do for the sport in this country?
Well, I think through what's been put together already with over the last 5 years now, but what's been put together is an incredible legacy already, in terms of sort of the facilities that have been put in place, the support that's gone into grassroots clubs. I think it's been incredible. I think there will be a real legacy, but a lot of that's tangible. I think what, you know, a Rugby League World Cup win, and I'm going to say for all three men, women and wheelchair here, because it's so important the women and wheelchair games get the credibility and the respect they deserve, because the players have put in an enormous amount of work, and so have the programmes have worked so hard behind the scenes to get both the women's and the wheelchair squads to the right place. But it'd be huge. Like, kids will be picking a rugby ball up more than they do now. That's the big effect, and that's the biggest effect. Like, We just need more kids playing sport in this country, and what a wonderful World Cup campaign does for our nation is probably instead of kicking a ball, they start to pick one up, and that makes such a shift and a difference. But actually, it's great to be English, and it's great to be proud of what we are and how we go about stuff. And I'm really looking forward to watching the men's team play on Saturday, and then in future weeks watching our women's and wheelchair teams do something very special.
Have you got a rota of games that you want to go to? I know you've got quite a lot on your plate at the moment, but have you got any plans, or you picked out which ones you want to go see?
No, I think the great thing is because they're all on the BBC.
Aye.
There'll always be a game on, won't there? So yeah, I'm juggling a fair bit at the minute with work and family and trying to get ready for November and this challenge. So I don't seem to have a spare minute, but I'm really looking forward to going on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, it is going to be non-stop. There's 61 games, of course, starting on Saturday. You mentioned the challenge, the third in under 2 years, and on November the 19th, we're hoping to see you running out at half-time at Old Trafford, having done ultramarathons from Edinburgh all the way down. How, first of all, the fitness, you say you keep them in marathon shape the whole time. How difficult is that to do? Is that quite straightforward? Because this is something unlike you've never done before.
Yeah, it's been a challenge.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to be, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be tough. And but probably for myself, and I know I need to train every day. And I'm not talking, you're gone for hours, I'm saying 30-minute blast or something, and I'm happy. But I don't even like running. I don't. But what running does is it makes me feel better about myself, and it's helped me help Rob.
Yeah. And
we've got a wonderful team together. The training's been difficult because we've got a pretty demanding job, as most people know who coach. Like, it's not just a 40-hour week. Like, you can double that and a bit more, and then I'm commuting to Leicester and back. And I don't want any sympathy for this. My decision to do this. But then it means that you're running at 4 a.m. and you're getting up and you're going out and there's nobody on the road, it's dark, it's wet. Nobody sees those bits, and I don't want anybody to see those bits because they're the places I need to go to ensure that we're in the best place to go in November. But I'm looking forward to it. You use the word, hopefully you will arrive at Old Trafford at that time. I agree, hopefully we will.
Yes, and the focus is going to be on the sport for the next 6 weeks, so there's no better time to be doing something like this and raising awareness of Motor Neurone Disease, and Rob and Stephen and Doddy and all the guys who've been involved. It's been quite an extraordinary effort that you've made over the last couple of years, and Rob's going to be there on Saturday before kick-off. He's going to be out on the pitch. That's going to be quite an extraordinary moment, isn't it, when he comes out on the pitch at St James's Park, isn't it?
Yeah, it'd be. I think fans in this country, across the world actually, but fans in this country in particular have shown Rob exactly what they think of him, and he's been a true inspiration and for all of us. Be great to see him Saturday. He loved playing for England, and he was a wonderful England player, had a wonderful career, and I think people will get the chance on Saturday to show him what he really means to all of us, and there'll be a big smile on his face as always. And he still watches as much rugby as he can, but it's great that he's at this opening ceremony and he'll be there to support England. I
should have said at the top of the recording, we're here sitting at your local club where you were coaching, and your sons come through the ranks here, and it's a real fabulous community venue. It's a hub of Saddleworth here at Saddleworth Rangers, and that's the thing that's striking about this sport, is the fact that the community pulls together, and they've done that with Rob and yourself in the last couple of years, and they've done that with this World Cup, with all the struggles and the challenges that this tournament's had to get going. It's an amazing bond that everyone in rugby league has, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people who throw stones and have a crack, but some of that is the northern nature, and the humour up here. But you're right. The sport pulls together when it's challenged, and John Dutton and his team. I mean, I think the world of John. I was fortunate enough to work alongside him for a couple of years at the RFL, and to see how hard he's worked and
the adversity he's faced, you know, getting bumped for a year and COVID and everything that came with it, has been so difficult for him. But he's done a wonderful job, and the sport will rally round. Like you said, ticket sales are flying now, and great performance from England Saturday, and they'll fly again, I'm sure. But like John's team have done just such a wonderful job, and we've got 6 weeks now of having the best players in the world in our country, who will put on an absolute showcase of rugby league, and we might never see this again. It might never be in our lifetimes that we get a home World Cup. So we've probably been lucky over this last 10 years with some of the events, sporting events that have happened in this country. It might be a long time before the next one, so we should take advantage of it.
Just finally on the challenge, is this the last one, or you got something else up your sleeve?
It'll be, yeah. I think it'll be my last running challenge.
Yeah.
Now I've been delighted because we got the Borough Marathon in Leeds next year on the 14th of May, and that was really important for me because there's so many people out there who want to support and do their own little bit, but the logistics of trying to have so many people when you're trying to run from Edinburgh to Old Trafford, it's just too much to take on. But it gives us all a chance to be able to get on that start line next year in Leeds and run together. And all being well, Rob will be in his chair and I'll push him round, and it'll be an unbelievable event for everybody. So yeah, we look forward to what's to come. I don't know. As I've said at this moment in time, that'll be my last running one. I'll continue to run marathons.
Keep that body in shape.
I'll try to. Try to anyway. But we'll see. I think there's probably another couple of disciplines that we might go after. But we'll see.
And of course, the coaching at Leicester is going great guns. You know, you've been there a year or so now. Long term, do you see yourself being a head coach somewhere? Is that what you'd like to do?
I've no plans. I've no plans. I think part of the reason why I went to do something completely different was Rob.
Yeah.
And Rob continues to inspire me, and I don't know. Honestly, don't know. Like, I've really enjoyed it. The club's been fantastic. Like, you wouldn't believe how much the sport of rugby union loves rugby league. It genuinely does. Like, I've not come across anybody who's like been really anti-rugby league, or doesn't love it, or doesn't tell me they grew up watching it, or doesn't tell me how much they watch it now, doesn't tell me how much they're looking forward to the World Cup. Like, I think at times the narrative of both sports is this hatred. No, it's not true. No. Like, you listen to Doddy Weir talk about rugby league, you listen to some of the absolute legends of the sport.
We spoke to Sir Clive Woodward a couple of weeks ago, and he was just gushing about
and they love
the
it.
love he's got for it.
They love it. So, you know, and that's what's been great about the challenge. Like, last year, like when we ran from Leicester to Leeds, like we tried to pull two sports together, and I think this year, with incorporating the brilliant Stephen Darby in that, we got three sports, and very, very tragically, to inherit a fourth brother, if you like, with Ed Slater getting diagnosed. I think both codes of rugby are really special. Obviously, my heart is in rugby league, and I love the sport, and I can't wait to be there Saturday.
Well, we hope to see you there. We wish you the best for the next couple of months, and November the 19th, we'll see you there. Hopefully. Old Trafford.
Hopefully.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.